Okay, so now let's discuss impulsion. This is another very important, and I would say even the most important guiding metric for recovery of the horse. So let's answer the same three questions to understand what it is and how we can use this metric. So the impulsion is measuring in a g-force. So the force which horse can generate to move its body up and forward. So it is anti-gravity force, which is needed to move up from the ground. And what this tell us about? So it explains the fitness of the horse. So how well horse is developed, its muscles of the full body to enable itself to move it. And the level of impulsion is the most interesting metric for us. And particularly not just measure itself, not the number of force, like, I mean, the level of the force, which is 2G, 1G, or whatever effort will be possible for your horse to generate, but dynamic of the change of this level, because only specifically change in dynamic will give us an indication of improvement or negative change in the horse ability to move within specific exercise or during a time. So let's have a look. On those three charts, you can see three different days, like 2 weeks between them, from October 2 till October 26. What we can say about those charts? So here, first day, we can see nicely that this day was 21 minutes of walk training session, and that's it. So remember, this horse wasn't in training almost a year. So this mostly the first several days of training session. So we have a chart from this moment, and we can see that impulsion of horse in the walking session, just on the walk, is changed during 20 minutes from the quite good level. It's still almost on the yellow zone, almost on the benchmark. But then over time, in 10 minutes and 15 minutes, you see declining trend of this effort. So the horse was unable to keep the same level of impulsion during 20 minutes training session. And this is signal that horse capability in this day was not well developed yet to keep session longer than 20 minutes, because then if you continue do the same exercise longer and longer and longer, then the impulsion became slower and slower, and you make lower and lower, sorry, and you can may even face the challenge of returning back to the same problem, because for horse it will be too much. And this good example and very well designed here. Then if you compare it with the next session, it was not the next day, it was 2 weeks after, like 13th of October in this case. You can see that level of impulsion right in the beginning is stronger than it was 2 weeks before. So horse started the training session stronger, and you can see even more during the time of this training session. Impulsion was even increased because horse was warming up in the first 10 minutes and became capable to make a stronger impulsion in the 10 minutes frame, which is different versus the October 2. You can see 10 minutes mark on the chart number one, where the impulsion almost declining already. So, and then you can see here, let me also pick a marker. Here you can see the frame of different impulsions, because those was a frame of exercises, and we learn later why it's happened here. But definitely we see that exercises changing the impulsion, yet it's still in a good mode, in a good shape of effort. And then in the third part of the training, you see declining trend. So impulsion over 30 minutes time frame for the walking session, and you can see introduced trot session was on this time, on the same day, means this very concrete training, already having 23 minutes of walk and 8 minutes of trot together, give horse enough effort, enough workload to keep good session in the beginning and also see declining trend already. So we would say that in this shape of horse fitness, 30 minutes, it is more than enough. So it's well for her, it's enough to stop, and we shouldn't continue the training session once we see this declining trend in the impulsion. So that's why very important to stop and finish the training if you see these changes of impulsion. And then look on the third chart here, and you will see the same interesting pattern growing of impulsion after warming up. So warming up for this horse is very important because first 5 minutes horse just remembering how to move the body, and then it became performing because it became capable to really move the body. Then we have a good session of work, and you see here in this date it also was counter introduced and the 12 minutes of trot, and despite 30 minutes of walk, so it's very heavy load, and horse still keep a good movements effort. You see here the impulsion still on the same level and keep high on the benchmark even for standard horses. I mean for average level of the horse. So which is for us giving us indication that now fitness of the horse is on the level which we can introduce more exercises, or we can extend the level of duration of the trot, canter, or add more heavy exercises during the same time frame. But horse is definitely able to keep good load of exercises and can perform without danger for her because for him, sorry, because the horse is well shaped and well shaped in terms of the ability to move the body, and impulsion good indication of it. So here, second metric, which is impulsion level. So we learn how read the charts. So we see declining, we see increasing level, and we see development. And clearly there is a warming up exercises needed for this specific horse. It may be different for your horse. It always depends on the specific horse. For some horses, it's critical important to have warming up. For some of them, less. But you can learn this and understand how it is important and what changed. Let us zoom into uh, charts for the trot. The same charts, the same impulsion level charts, but now the same days. You see, it's the same days. It just different metric. So this is for trot. So could you tell how would you read this? Like first, I can say for you, because this is a very clear, it's declining impulsion. You see trot 2 minutes, a little bit more. And the same first day of October, now it's October 4th, because on the 2nd of October it wasn't trot at all, that's why I picked different chart. But you see the same pattern. Still in October 4th, horse wasn't able to maintain a good level of impulsion on the trot. And the whole session was 26 minutes. And less than 3 minute trot, and horse became tired. You see very clear high decline of impulsion. So impulsion. This is indication that it's time to stop. Horse not ready to move more on the trot. Need to get rest for the horse. If someone can unmute and tell how we can read chart number 2, would be great. If any, please go ahead. If you see it well, I'm not sure if it's good visible on the phones. So let me ask someone. Linda, can you try to explain what do you see?
I think it looks pretty good. The first one maybe is still just like a warming up in the trot because it's lower.
You mean this one, right?
Yeah. And
Sure.
the rest, I would say, look all pretty similar.
Yeah, they kind of looking good, and this is definitely, I would say, is development phase for the horse. So horse is capable to keep this effort, and you're absolutely right. There's almost the same level of impulsion, but here you can see interesting moments, like difference between this and this, and actually the same pattern here and here. Can you guess what it is? Why it's so?
Can't actually see what you're pointing at there.
There are two small lines. So there is a frame of trot, like I don't know, 30 seconds, and then a minute or so, but they a little bit differ in terms of the level of impulsion. And this difference, it's not huge, but it's meaningful, it's visible. And the difference here, I draw the line to connect those two peaks. Uh, and I would say here is a right and here is a left reins. And the same here. So we can learn that there is a pattern of different impulsion horse can perform in the left and right reins. So if you would be notifying how you organize the training practice and remember yourself, or just you can see this on the Equestic chart, what was movement in this moment was the left and right rein, and also see this continuous repeating uh, change in the impulsion related to the same rein. This means that in the specific band, horse less developed to move body than on the other one. And this will tell you, okay, this means you have to practice more on the less developed band, helping horse to perform and improve this. You can do this nicely, wisely, not overdo, of course, but please keep an eye on this, because it's definitely the indication of a little bit curving of the horse body or different level of development. Maybe it is also related to injured leg or injured side of the horse, which was in the past and longer and required longer time to develop. But for sure, if you see the difference in left and right reins impulsion, then it's definitely indication that you have to think what exercises to pick to help them equalize, to develop the weaker band and weaker diagonal of the horse. Okay, good. So moving forward, you can see if we increase from 8 minutes of trot to 12 minutes of trots, horses still perform good in the middle, the same pattern of warming up and then a little bit steady and then even increase with some exercises. But then again, it happened that there is a decline in impulsion. So this is indication of time. So 12 minutes at that moment of development of the horse of October 26th, it was enough. So, and we gratefully see that training was stopped and horse was then moved to the next day for relax and get a little bit rest. But this is indication of horse kind of ability. It's no more. And October 23, I just pick another training session, which was lighter session. And you can see here, just 4 minutes of trot and horse nicely keep the same level of impulsion without any decline, and left and right almost equal. So we didn't notice here kind of patterns of repeating the frame when the same diagonal always have less effort. So those was different exercises for sure, and we compare and see how different exercises perform, but it's different. It's later on in the discussion today. But general duration of the training, like it was now 30 minutes training session versus 47, and for 30-minute session, horse perform well. So it's good fitness for the horse. It's medium level of workload for the horse, and you can be sure it's not ruining your horse capability. Sorry. So designing the frame and the schema for your horse, having this data and these charts give you a sense how long training session should be for your horse, what frames of trot, canter, and the walk you can integrate within the training session, and then you can think what exercises you should provide within each of these frame for each gait, because exercises could be changing the workload of horse required dramatically. It could be the same time, but double the effort needed if you do a collection on the trot, or if you do a side pass or something else. So all of those high-level exercises can give you an increase of workload while keeping the same level of effort. I mean, the same level of time. So that's why designing what you will be doing next, you should firstly understand current state of the horse, current ability of perform simple things, simple movements like walking trot, walking walk, and walking counter, and then add more if you see horse is capable to do whatever you want without decline in the impulsion. So impulsion level for us is indication of fitness. And having that said, we may say now, let us let us make a short pause, short break to let me a little bit rest the voice and also ask you if you have any questions for now. Please go ahead and ask if you have. Jesse, Marianne, Linda, any of you, you have a pleasure to be on the and Evgenia. So all of you may ask if you have any questions to clarify. Please go ahead.
No questions from me.
Thank you, Linda. Okay, good. Then let us move forward because now we are going to dive into very challenging part, which is much more complicated compared to what we just covered.